The ACT Party's Dr. Plunket Palmer's lodged a new bill in Parliament's members' ballot to strengthen the voice of liquor licence businesses. She says that Labor made navigating the licence application and the renewal process more difficult than it already was. Too many groups were given too much power to effectively block an establishment or their renewal of a liquor licence. In fact, she goes on to say that she'd heard from countless small business owners who'd wasted their time and money fighting objections to their liquor licence renewal from people who were miles away from them. Others also faced losing their licence simply because a childcare facility had opened nearby. Palmer says businesses deserve certainty, and her bill will fix these unfair hurdles, allowing them to focus on serving their local community without constant threats. Ash Parmar is a retailer. He knows of which he speaks in this realm. He's also a good friend of the show, and he's with us now. G'day, Ash.
Hi, Leah. How are you?
Well, I'm good. This is good news, potentially good news, you would say.
Yeah, I'm actually really glad someone's kind of picked up the flag on this, because there was many issues the coalition government has been focusing on, and they're all equally important. But this one was just a no-brainer, because all Labor has managed to do is make lawyers rich, which I think they are very good at, bringing in legislation, no proper consultation, which in this case they didn't really consult with any of the actual retailers who've been in the industry for a long time, came out with new laws, which has basically just made lawyers richer because, well, business owners like me were heavily relying on them to navigate this difficult space. So I'm really glad Dr. Plunket has picked up the flag on this and is doing a good job of navigating and getting the feedback from business owners.
Well, how hard was it really, though, Ash, for a business to get their licence application processed or renewed? Because she's painted it as being very difficult. Was it that difficult?
It has always been difficult, Leah. Just to help your listeners understand, if a new premise is set up, you're only granted a 1-year license anyway. And from there on, as long as there's no issue, you get 3-year renewals. But what people need to understand is you don't just open a liquor store or a supermarket or a pub or restaurant. There's a lot of investment that's done, and a lot of that is repaid back over a number of years. So if a business owner is going to take risk, invest $100,000 to $500,000 or much more than that, they need a bit of surety that they can actually run their business. So those challenges were already there, but the new laws that Labor government brought in made it much more trickier, which Dr. Plunget's press release talks to. One of the biggest one that Labor brought in, which just made no sense, was allow anyone anywhere to object to any liquor license renewal, which just made no sense at all.
Right. So then, at the moment, as it stands, or the way Labor did it, was I could protest to a liquor store outlet 10 k's away from me. Is that
no?
too far away?
I'll give you a better example. You could oppose to one in Invercargill for whatever reason.
Oh.
And
what?
You could oppose to. Yeah. You didn't have to explain. And the other thing that did is remove the opposer or the organisation that's opposed. Back in the day, they had to come in and explain themselves, be kind of cross-examined. They didn't have to do that either. All they could do is just object, create a lot of chaos for the business owner, which also triggers a lot of lawyer fees because you've got to engage a proper lawyer to get in front of a committee. So it kind of made no sense. And what it's also done is there's all these special interest groups out there, which are really well-meaning. I don't want to say the special interest groups are doing anything wrong, but they're opposing to just about everything at the moment, which is not the right way of approaching this. There are a lot of businesses or business owners, they've been selling alcohol in various ways for a very, very long time. And to throw all this kind of stuff on them is not really fair. So I'm glad she's kind of talking about it. It's a members' bill, It could take a while to come out of that pen.
Sure.
But it's good that at least someone's talking about it finally. It's taken a year.
Speaking to that, I could have laid a protest for one in Invercargill. Dr. Palmer's bill would limit the eligibility to oppose an application for renewal of the liquor licence to those who reside within 1 kilometre of the premise. And do you think that's fair?
I think so because, I mean, like one of my licenses is actually going for renewal at the moment, and I've got a very lengthy objection list, which some of it's very unreasonable, talking about reducing my trading hours while other businesses around me will continue to trade for longer and continue to sell certain products. But the unlimited proximity makes sense because people who are directly impacted by, for whatever reason, operation of this business, they actually get to have a say, not just a special interest group, which are funded potentially by taxpayers or a donor trading their habit. The other thing that I want to talk about is, and this is again, Labor loves doing this stuff, but don't consult the people the impact is currently, if an existing premises is in place in a new church or a childcare centre potentially opens between the two renewal processes, we have to take that in consideration, and potentially your license could be rejected, which is, it makes no sense. The business was already there, it was established, but if a church or a childcare centre comes into the place, what did that liquor license holder do wrong? They've been running a good business with no problems, but now they could potentially be rejected.
Jeez. So I could open a childcare. I could open a childcare centre close to an already established liquor outlet, and then I could protest it being there or getting its licence renewed next time round.
Yeah, pretty much. But also, I mean, a lot of your listeners would be living also in provincial areas. A lot of these really small towns in particular, the town centres are really only half a kilometre wide, and then you've got a lot of rural population, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, like, say, take Narawaya for an example. In a straight line, it's only kind of like a half a kilometre wide CBD, within which you've got churches, you've got a police station, ambulance services, liquor stores, supermarket, all this kind of stuff. So if you create an exclusion zone or a new church or a new childcare centre is open, where is that business supposed to go? They literally have to leave town. There's no more commercial premises in place. Yeah. But that's just another example of how stupid sometimes Labor policy can be. But yeah, I'm glad things getting done, or at least talked about it finally.
Yes.
Yeah, still here.
Oh, yep. No, sorry from my end. It was just a little bit glitchy. No, but you are there. Can I ask you, Ash, obviously we've spoken about the change that's coming in Auckland and that the new laws that come in December regarding supermarkets and bottle stores not being able to sell alcohol after 9 p.m. So and also applicants for new bottle stores in the central city and 23 other areas will be rejected for 2 years unless they meet a very high threshold. Would this bill what would that mean for them in Auckland, if anything?
So just to help your listeners understand, there is such a thing called LAP, Local Alcohol Policy, and that's what's happened in that instance. The council has made a policy change that they don't want any more liquor licenses since applying for a 2-year period, and also just a blanket ban on everyone opening after 9 p.m. And all the councils around the country have their own unique ways of doing it. Some of your listeners would also be aware there are councils don't allow liquor stores to open at all or supermarkets to sell alcohol. Like you got West Auckland Trust, and I think way down south you got some of those councils as well. They don't allow a supermarket or liquor store. So everyone does their things in a unique way. But what her member's bill is talking about is liquor licensing in general. And the other thing I don't like is, this is how society operates, or mainstream media, which thankfully you're not part of, who like to paint a negative picture. This change is not just about liquor stores. It also impacts your supermarkets of all descriptions, but also your on-premises, which are lovely businesses. There's taverns, obviously, but there's restaurants, there's cafes, and adding more lawyer fees to any business right now adds to the cost of living crisis. If I potentially have to spend $23,000 to $30,000 on lawyer fees, all that's going to flow on to the consumer at the end of the day. That's the harsh reality of it. But obviously Labor didn't listen at the time, didn't consult actual people working in the industry. But luckily it's getting talked about. And I'm really living in hope that her member's bill gets picked out of, I think it's called a cake tin or tin or something.
Yeah, the biscuit tin. Yeah.
Biscuit tin, there we go.
Out of the biscuit tin. Yeah. It could be some while off though, Ash, but what I've learned through this process and speaking with you over the course of a while is it seems that liquor businesses or these outlets were just easy targets. It's unfair. They were it was like low hanging fruit. Let's just pick on them. I never could quite understand how they were picked on. Sure, look, there are people that treat alcohol incorrectly and do have issues with it, and it can lead to violence and all the bad stuff that goes with it. But then if they're going to pick on, if we're going to focus on the outlets or places that sell alcohol, and then are we going to look at fast food restaurants? Are we going to look at places that make our kids fat? What about the all the people that are vaping, all the vaping stores? I mean, why just liquor?